Be prepared. Tomorrow, April 5th, 2026, the universe is about to throw down a cosmic gauntlet, and if you're not ready, you could either catch the biggest break of your entire life or watch it explode in your face. This isn't just another planetary transit. This is the kind of astrological pressure cooker that creates millionaires and madmen in equal measure. At exactly 8:20 tomorrow evening, the Sun in Aries will lock into a perfect exact square with Jupiter in Cancer. And here's what nobody is telling you. Both of these cosmic giants are currently exalted, meaning they're operating at maximum power, maximum volume, maximum intensity. When two exalted planets collide in a hard square aspect, the resulting friction doesn't just shift things, it detonates them. The energy building right now, it's already here, you can probably feel it, that restless electric buzz under your skin, that sense that something massive is coming, but you can't quite name it yet. And if you've been feeling almost unnaturally confident lately, like you could take on the world and win, keep watching, because there's one specific reason why this is happening to you right now, and I will explain it later, so stay tuned. But first, you need to understand why tomorrow isn't just another Saturday, because what happens in the next 48 hours could quite literally rewrite the trajectory of your entire year. And the wild part? Most people won't even notice what's happening until it's already over. Tomorrow marks the biggest risk-reward day of 2026. Let's be clear about what we're dealing with. The Sun represents your core identity, your ego, your conscious will to exist and conquer. In Aries, the warrior, the pioneer, the one who charges first and asks questions later, the Sun is exalted. It's operating at peak heroic frequency, demanding that you be bold, be brave, be unapologetically yourself. Jupiter represents expansion, abundance, luck, and what most people call good fortune. In Cancer, the nurturer, the emotional foundation, the protective mother, Jupiter is also exalted. It's operating at maximum generosity, pouring out blessings, opportunities, and resources like an overflowing fountain. Now imagine these two titanic forces, both at their absolute peak power, slamming into each other at a 90-degree angle. Fire meeting water, independence clashing with security, the urge to leap forward battling the desire to protect what you've built. That collision? That's tomorrow, and the explosion it creates, that's your opportunity. But here's the catch, this energy doesn't hand you anything. It doesn't gently place success in your lap while you sleep. It demands that you take the risk. It demands that you jump when every logical bone in your body is screaming at you to stay safe. This is what astrologers call the risky jackpot, the cosmic green light to go all in, the universe saying, if you're bold enough, if you're ready enough, if you trust yourself enough, I will reward you tenfold. But, and this is critical, if you overreach, if you let your ego run wild without any guardrails, if you confuse confidence with invincibility, this same energy will humble you in ways you never saw coming. Tomorrow is a knife's edge, and you're standing right on it. We're still in the aftershock of the full moon. Here's what most people don't realize. Tomorrow's Sun-Jupiter square isn't happening in a vacuum. We just came through an incredibly intense full moon in Libra on April 1st, a lunation that formed a volatile T-square with the Sun in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. That full moon brought relationship imbalances, overextension, and people-pleasing patterns straight to the surface. Maybe you felt it. The tension in your partnerships, the realization that you've been giving too much and receiving too little, the sudden clarity about where you've been compromising yourself into oblivion. That full moon cracked you open, and now, just days later, the Sun-Jupiter square is pouring gasoline on whatever was exposed. If the full moon showed you the problem, tomorrow is the day the universe hands you the solution, but only if you're willing to take massive, terrifying action. And it doesn't stop there. On April 3rd, just 2 days ago, Mercury in Pisces formed a perfect trine to Jupiter in Cancer. That alignment opened up channels for big ideas, intuitive downloads, and successful negotiations. Your mind has been expanding, receiving, preparing. Everything this week has been building toward tomorrow. The emotional groundwork is laid, the mental clarity is there. The question is, will you act? Because on April 9th, just 4 days after this square, Mars, the warrior planet, the ruler of Aries, enters its home sign and ignites a massive, overwhelming Aries stellium that will dominate the rest of the month. If you hesitate tomorrow, if you let fear win, that incoming fire will burn you. But if you take the leap on April 5th, that same fire becomes rocket fuel for everything you just initiated. Tomorrow is the ignition point. What you do with it determines whether the rest of April elevates you or exhausts you. The universe is screaming, go bigger. Remember when I said if you've been feeling unusually confident, there's a reason. This is it. The Sun-square-Jupiter transit doesn't whisper. It doesn't suggest. It screams at you to expand, to push boundaries, to stop playing small. This energy is intoxicating. It's the feeling that everything you touch will turn to gold. It's the certainty that you can handle anything thrown your way. It's the voice in your head saying, why settle for good when you can have everything? And here's the thing, that voice isn't wrong. Under this transit, you genuinely do have access to opportunities, resources, and breakthroughs that wouldn't normally be available to you. The cosmic tumblers have aligned, and the vault is open. But, and this is where it gets dangerous, the energy doesn't distinguish between calculated risks and reckless gambles. It amplifies everything. Your confidence, your ambition, your appetite for more. This is why the Sun-square-Jupiter is called the crisis of optimism. You start believing you're invincible. You start thinking that rules don't apply to you. You start assuming that every idea is brilliant, every investment is solid, every leap will land perfectly. The Aries sun wants it all, and it wants it now. The Cancer Jupiter believes the universe will provide infinite resources to make it happen. Together, they create a feedback loop of escalating desire and unshakable faith. For some people, this will be the best thing that ever happened to them. They'll take the risk they've been calculating for months. They'll finally launch the business, make the investment, have the conversation, or take the leap that changes everything. And because they prepared, because they did the work, because they're acting from a place of authentic alignment, they'll win. For others, this will be the moment they bet everything on a hunch and lose it all. They'll confuse faith with foolishness. They'll mistake ego for intuition. They'll jump without looking and discover there's no net. The difference between those two outcomes? Preparation. The people who win tomorrow are the ones who planted seeds months ago. Which brings us to the next critical piece. October's seeds are about to explode into harvest. Here's something the astrology reveals that most people will miss. Tomorrow's Sun-Jupiter square is directly connected to events that happened back in mid-October 2025. Specifically, around October 17th, when similar planetary dynamics were in play. Think back. What were you working on in October? What risks were you considering? What bold moves did you make, or what opportunities did you let slip by? Because the cosmic law at play tomorrow is simple and unforgiving. You reap what you sow. The universe is about to reward the risks you took 6 months ago. If you gave something your absolute best shot back then, even if it didn't seem to pay off immediately, tomorrow is when you see the tenfold return. But if you played it safe, if you held back, if you delivered a measured effort because you were too scared to go all in, you'll see half-baked results. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because you didn't plant a strong enough seed for this massive energy to magnify. This is the risky jackpot in action. The people who trusted themselves in October, who made the investment, started the project, took the leap, those people are positioned to win everything tomorrow. The people who hesitated, who waited for perfect conditions, who convinced themselves maybe next time they'll watch from the sidelines while others collect the prize. So ask yourself right now, what did I initiate in October 2025? What did I commit to even when it scared me? Because that's what's about to explode into full bloom. And if you're thinking, but I didn't do anything in October, don't panic. You still have tomorrow. You still have one shot to plant a seed massive enough to catch this wave. But you have to act. You have to move. Hesitation is not an option. The Titanic sailed under this exact energy. Let's talk about what happens when this energy goes wrong, because history has already shown us. On April 10th, 1912, the RMS Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage under the exact astrological weather we're experiencing tomorrow. The Sun in Aries, forming a hard square to Jupiter in Cancer. The Titanic was a marvel, a triumph of human engineering and ambition. It represented everything the exalted Aries sun stands for: pioneering spirit, courage, the belief that anything is possible. And it promised everything the exalted Cancer Jupiter offers: luxury, safety, expansion, emotional security on an unprecedented scale. But the builders and operators of that ship fell into the exact trap this transit creates, the crisis of optimism. They believed they were invincible. They declared the ship unsinkable. They ignored the practical logistics, like having enough lifeboats. They dismissed the ice warnings because they were so intoxicated by their own brilliance. And when the ship hit the iceberg, the hubris of the exalted square manifested in catastrophic, fatal form. This is not a story meant to scare you. It's a story meant to wake you up, because the energy of tomorrow carries the same potential for both triumph and tragedy. The universe is handing you incredible power, but it's also testing whether you're mature enough to wield it responsibly. The difference between hitting the jackpot and hitting the iceberg is this: guardrails. You can aim for the stars tomorrow. You should aim for the stars, but you cannot ignore the practical realities of your situation. You cannot assume that faith alone will carry you through. You cannot mistake confidence for competence. The people who win under this transit are the ones who combine the courage of Aries with the wisdom of Cancer. They take the leap, but they also pack the parachute. They go all in, but they also do the math. They trust the universe, but they also trust themselves to handle the logistics. Don't be the Titanic. Be the person who builds the unsinkable ship and brings enough lifeboats. 3 signs hit the cosmic jackpot tomorrow. While this energy affects everyone, the astrological geometry reveals that 3 specific zodiac signs are positioned to absolutely dominate tomorrow's transit. If you're one of these signs, or if you have significant placements in these signs, pay very close attention. Cancer, your career is about to explode. Cancer, you are the primary beneficiary of this entire event. Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, has been in your sign, exalted and generous, for months now. But tomorrow, the Sun in Aries squares Jupiter from your 10th house of career, public image, and authority. This is your moment. This is the career-defining breakthrough you've been calculating, stressing over, and second-guessing for half a year. The universe is about to reward you, but only if you stop hesitating and finally execute that terrifying move you know you need to make. Maybe it's the job change, maybe it's the business launch, maybe it's the public statement, the dramatic pivot, the bold purchase. Whatever it is, you already know what it is. And the cosmic directive is clear: no turning back. Here's the metaphor the astrology gives you. You're navigating whitewater rapids. You've been trying desperately to steer away from the rocks, to control every twist and turn, to keep yourself safe. But tomorrow, you have to let go. You have to trust the current. You have to allow the fierce, chaotic momentum to carry you around the obstacles instead of fighting it. And when you do, when you finally surrender to the flow and take the leap, you will emerge on the other side with the prize in your hands. You have everything to gain. Just don't compromise your core values for superficial success. Stay true to who you are, and the universe will deliver. Scorpio, your professional connections open every door. Scorpio, while everyone else is getting swept up in the emotional chaos of this square, you're staying sharp, strategic, and observant. This transit activates your sector of daily work and your sector of higher vision, creating a perfect storm for professional triumph. Your secret weapon tomorrow is this: influential connections. The people in your network, the colleagues you've been building relationships with, the mentors who recognize your potential, they're about to support you in ways that seem almost too good to be true. But here's the key to unlocking the jackpot. You have to be direct, ruthlessly, unapologetically direct. No more dancing around issues. No more softening your message to avoid discomfort. Cut through the noise, deal with outstanding matters head on, and refuse to tolerate ambiguity. When you do this, when you strip away the pleasantries and say exactly what needs to be said, you will achieve success beyond what you thought possible. Every goal you've set will fall into place. And with Mercury still riding the wave of its recent trine to Jupiter, this is also prime time for negotiations, contracts, and business deals. Be bold, be clear, be strategic, and watch as the universe hands you exactly what you've been working toward. Aquarius, your faith is about to manifest everything. Aquarius, this transit doesn't just offer you external success, it offers you something far more valuable, complete alignment between your inner vision and your outer reality. Your faith in yourself and others is at an all-time high right now, and that's not blind optimism, that's recognition of the cosmic truth that everything is falling into place exactly as it should. The friction of the square doesn't exhaust you. It energizes you. It burns away your lingering cynicism and intellectual detachment. Tomorrow you're being asked to trust, not in a reckless, naive way, but in a deep, knowing way. Trust your eccentric instincts. Trust your vision for the future. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor. And when you maintain this faith, when you refuse to let doubt creep in, when you assess every situation with a radically positive mindset, the astrology is clear. Everything will begin to come up roses. This isn't just one area of life, this is holistic. Relationships, career, finances, creativity, every domain starts flowing in perfect harmony. It's effortless, it's natural, it's the jackpot you didn't even know you were chasing. All you have to do is believe, and then act from that belief. The invisible line between breakthrough and breakdown. Here's what you need to understand as we move into tomorrow. The energy of the Sun square Jupiter is neutral. It's a cosmic amplifier. It doesn't care whether you're amplifying genius or delusion. It will magnify whatever you feed it. If you've done the work, if you've been preparing, calculating, building, and waiting for the right moment, tomorrow will feel like destiny unfolding. Doors will open. Opportunities will materialize. The risk you take will pay off in ways that seem almost miraculous. But if you're acting from ego, from desperation, from the need to prove something to someone else, tomorrow could be the day everything unravels. You'll overextend, you'll overpromise, you'll overestimate your capacity and underestimate the logistics, and the universe will humble you swiftly. So before you make any bold moves tomorrow, ask yourself, am I acting from authentic alignment or am I trying to fill a void? Have I done the practical groundwork or am I relying on faith alone? Is this expansion rooted in my true self or am I performing for an audience? The answers to those questions will determine whether you hit the jackpot or the iceberg. And here's the final piece of the puzzle, the esoteric wisdom hidden in the exact degrees of this transit. The Sun, at 17 degrees Aries, carries the energy of two prim spinsters sitting together in silence, inner serenity, self-containment, quiet dignity. Jupiter, at 17 degrees Cancer, carries the energy of the seed grows into knowledge and life, explosive germination, outward expansion, the manifestation of potential. The cosmic message is clear. Your massive, world-changing expansion must be rooted in the silent truth of who you actually are. If you try to grow into something you're not, the seed will wither. But if you let your authentic self crack open and expand into the world, even if it's messy, even if it's vulnerable, even if it terrifies you, you will actualize your highest destiny. Tomorrow is that moment. The seed you planted in October is ready to burst through the soil. The question is, will you let it? April is just beginning. This Sun-Jupiter square on April 5th is the ignition point for an entire month of fire, momentum, and transformation. Mars enters Aries on April 9th. Mercury follows on April 14th. By mid-month, 7 planets will be stacked in Aries, creating the most intense action-oriented energy we'll see all year. And on April 25th, Uranus, the planet of sudden breakthroughs, unexpected windfalls, and revolutionary change, enters Gemini for the next 7 years, permanently altering the landscape of technology, communication, and community. The risks you take tomorrow position you to capitalize on everything coming next. This is your moment to set the trajectory. This is your chance to go bigger than you ever thought possible. The universe is screaming at you. The question is, are you listening? If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.